time out of your day to come here. I know that we're not in the best location with like parking and finding everything, and it's a little chilly today, but very, very thankful to have everyone here. Today's panel will be recorded, so I will be also sharing that afterwards with you all so you can share with your connections, because tomorrow is the annual International Women's Day that will be celebrated all over the city and all over the nation and all over the world. But today we're here to celebrate in honor of that and celebrate the accomplishment of all the women in our city who have given us strength and who are helping us pave the path forward for more women leaders. With that, it's my honor to present, ask Mayor Joe Hodgson to join us. He has a little surprise for all of us.
Is it my time?
Yeah. Come on right up.
Well, good morning or afternoon, however you treat the noon hour. Who runs the world? Girls! So I brought a proclamation with me, and I'm looking forward to the panel discussion as well. By the way, can I brag just a little bit more about the administration?
All right,
So we do have 3 deputy mayors, all of whom happen to be women. Hampton, you just proved that. But what needs to be celebrated as well is the fact that of those 3 women who serve as deputy mayors for the city of Indianapolis, 2 happen to be women of color.
Yay.
So I brought this proclamation with me, and let me just read it quickly to you in pertinent parts so that we can get on with the program. Since 1911, International Women's Day has been observed to honor the incredible women who have paved the way for equity and inclusion in all aspects of our life, and the ones who continue to fight all over the world. Annually on March 8th, International Women's Day is an opportunity to address the social, economic, and political barriers women and girls continue to face while celebrating their achievements and the progress that has been made in support of women's equity. Women continue to make extraordinary contributions to the city of Indianapolis. Not only is our city's population 52% women, all you men in here, start taking notes. But women remain a prominent source of strength and leadership in our community. As a city, we must stand with women everywhere, support their rights, and work toward a world where women are treated with dignity and respect. All women, everywhere. The International Women's Day 2023 theme is Embrace Equity. This is a time to start engaging in conversations about why equal opportunities are no longer enough, and spread awareness about more equity-focused action. Today, the city of Indianapolis thanks all the women who have come before us and those who continue to inspire us and those who will come after us. Let us celebrate and honor them today and every day. Now, therefore, I, Joe Hodgson, Mayor of the City of Indianapolis, do proudly proclaim March 8, 2023 as International Women's Day in the City of Indianapolis. Congratulations. So that it can be framed and proudly displayed. Can I share just one anecdote with you before I sit down? So last year on this day, I happened to be listening to a podcast. I won't identify it or call it out, but I found it revealing. The podcast was a combination of 3 men and a woman. And one of the men at the beginning of the podcast, on that day, March 8th, a year ago, said to the woman who was participating in the podcast, "Happy International Women's Day." And one of the other male podcasters said, "What's up with that?" Meaning, what's International Women's Day? He continues after a pause and says, "When is International Men's Day?" Predictable. And the woman who was being congratulated on the podcast in celebration of Internet, she said immediately without skipping a beat, "Every day is International Men's Day." God bless you all.
Thank you, Ruth. We are so excited that you all joined us here today, the Office of the Mayor, of course, and then International and Latino Affairs. So this is a wonderful event to be able to really look at how Indianapolis is changing.
Yes.
I mean, Indianapolis continues to change, and also to be able to celebrate our women here. As the mayor said, we're 52% women here. We've always said women hold up half the sky, right? But I would say because we clothed, fed, and birthed the other half of the sky, we hold up a lot more. So I'm looking forward to the conversation, but what we want to do is kind of go around the table first and talk to our panelists, and if you would, kind of give us an idea of who you are, your background, your culture, and really why you're excited to be here. So let's start with Sarah Hindi. Sarah?
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Sarah Hindi, pronouns she, her, hers. I'm originally Palestinian Jordanian descent. I was born in the Middle East and I've lived between Amman, Jordan and Indianapolis. I'm a proud Arab Muslim American woman and, as mentioned, Chief Communications Officer for the Indianapolis City County Council. I'm really honored and proud to be here today, one with women that I work with every day, really awesome women, and then just in general as a Muslim Arab woman, it's not very common to find people that look like me in this space. And I rely on awesome women and allies to get through every day, truly. So proud to be here.
Council?
Thank you. I'm Maki Teramoto. I'm the Consul of Mexico in Indianapolis. We cover Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. I'm the first woman head of the consulate here. We've been here 20 years. I'm Mexican born, Mexican raised, but my parents are immigrants, and that has defined my career. I've been a public servant for 30 years. A career member of the Mexican Foreign Service for almost 25 years, and I've been here only 7 months. So I have a lot of years to come, and I'm happy to join this wonderful panel. Thank you.
Wonderful. Romy?
Yes. My name is Romy Bernard Tucker. I am the director of the Office of Public Health and Safety. Before that, I was a public defender for 10 and a half years. And I say that as I'm talking about my identity because being a public defender kind of tells you everything you need to know about me, about my heart, my soft heart. I am originally from Haiti. I moved to the United States. Yeah, Haiti, yeah! See, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm from Haiti, proud of it. I moved to the United States when I was 19 years old. From there, from Haiti, I moved to Kentucky, where I didn't understand the language, and then moved to Indianapolis, or to Bloomington and then Indianapolis. I've been in the States for 18 years now, I believe, and I am a mother of 2 small children. That's also something about me, and that's important. I am a wife, and my husband's here, so it's amazing. And yes, daughter, sister, and all that jazz.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Maria?
Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Wildridge, and I'm the Director of Latino Affairs at the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, where I've been for 23 years. I started when I was about 10. So I love my job. I work with victims of violent crimes. That is my main job at the prosecutor's office. I'm also a certified interpreter with the Supreme Court of Indiana. And I love to be here with this diverse group of women that are wonderful. And I know some of them, and they do a wonderful job, and I cannot wait to get into the conversation.
Yes, definitely. So thank you all for being here and really sharing your experiences with everyone, because this is a learning opportunity for all of us. I truly believe that. So we'll start with questions. First question, how have you built confidence or resiliency over the course of your career? Who would like to go first? Sarah? Sure.
I would say that is probably something I'm working on each and every day. As you know, an Arab Muslim woman who it's working in local government, and before that I was an intern at the State House, and it's something that you work on, I mentioned, every day, because like human beings can only handle so much, and like, you know, from microaggressions in the workplace to, you know, when you step outside of the building to just on a daily basis. But I would say it's really being strong and true to myself and my identity and my values has helped me, because that's how I've been able to survive. Because I think certain spaces you're asked to be a certain way or act a certain way or mold into a certain shape, and I think when you stay strong and true to who you are, it really helps build that confidence and resiliency, because yes, you go through different experiences and professional experiences that change you because you learn new knowledge, but you shouldn't change for other people on the inside of actually who you are. And to even give an example, I mentioned I was an intern at the State House, and my first day going through security, as an intern, you have to go through security every day, and the lady asked me to take off my hat. And I looked around and I thought, oh, there's other people in line in security? No, I was the only person, and I thought, she cannot be seriously talking to me, what? And that was my first time at the State House also. And so and my parents, all, you know, they're constantly saying like Muslim women aren't in politics, Muslim women don't work in government, like not necessarily, like they're proud of course, all that I've done and accomplished, but sometimes they're also scared and concerned for my own safety to say like, Muslim women aren't in this space, so what are you doing? Like, is it worth it? Is it worth your mental health and worth to go through all of that? And I say, yes, this is important because no one else is in this space, and that's why I need to be here and continue to push through. So that's just one experience and story that I share about, like, I'm like, what? Like, wait, what? It's the importance of just educating yourself on like not thinking of people who work in government as a certain way, or people who are in the city county building, you know, you have to look a certain way or be a certain way to fit into the mold. And so that's how I build confidence and resiliency every day.
It is amazing, Sarah, because you're so young, but yet you're a trailblazer, that there's still room for trailblazing and educating other folks. I mean, and that's got to weigh on you. Do you have a support system or a group of folks that you kind of go back to and share similar stories? Do you have anyone?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I told my intern supervisor, even who was a white male, and he was like, unbelievable, like, who do I need to go beat up? Like, people were just really frustrated, and I think that's why it's so important to share stories. Yes. And to share not just the successes that we go through, but also the hardships that we go through, because I think it gives a more personal touch to be like, I really like her, and I can't believe someone said that to her, or has done something to her, and I'm going to go after them, or we need to do something. It really puts things into perspective. So.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Maki, so confidence, resiliency over the course of your career.
It's been difficult because, you know, the way I look, it's not the typical Mexican, you know. And just as Sarah mentioned, I have one story. In the Mexican Foreign Service system, we have to present promotion exams. We have exams to be promoted. So we have to make an essay, and then we have an interview with 3 people. Some of them are officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, others are people from the academia or think tanks or something. And one of them, a male with a last name as foreigner as mine, asked me, "Are you married?" I'm like, "Why are you asking me that?" "Yes." "Is he Mexican?" "Well, yes." "Like ethnically Mexican?" "Yes." "Have you think on using his last name?" Like, why? "Well, because Teramoto doesn't sound Mexican enough." You know? Like, are you serious? And, well, it was I was, in my exam, so I left the exam and I told my boss, the ambassador, and he got completely furious. He was more mad than me. Like, he made official complaints, and how is that possible that, because that's a question you don't make to a male. No? Have you think of using your wife's last name? Excuse me? That doesn't happen.
Right.
So one important thing is doing your job and doing it good, the best you can, because as someone said in TikTok, when a woman says something, it's a complaint, while a male it's just a comment. And when a male just reacts, the woman is like aggressively reacting. So it's step by step. I'm happy to have men in this room, because the message is not for us. We know what's our mission. We know we have a, like a unity and solidarity position that maybe we don't know each other. I didn't know, but we know what we're doing here.
Right.
So the message is for the males who share the word with us.
Right. We definitely have to have partnerships and allies to move forward on everything. So Romy, confidence.
So I think I had to redefine my idea of confidence, and because before I was like, well, if I'm a confident person, then I have no fear. So like, I'm right here, my heart is not racing at all. I'm like completely comfortable. And so it's not true. And so I had to redefine that word. And for me, like, confidence is working through those fears. And I have a lot of fears. Like, you name it, I fear it. It's like I'm fearful of everything. And so if I had to let fear stop me, I wouldn't do anything. And so as I'm thinking about the hard things, the scary things that happen in my life, and I'll give two small examples. Me leaving my country, my family. I mean, we speak French and Creole in Haiti, and I come here to the States speaking English all by myself, no family. I'm 19 years old. That was scary. But I still had to do the thing I was here to do, and I had to go to school. I wanted to be a lawyer, and I had to be the lawyer. So that was a scary thing, and confidence that, hey, I can get through this, even though I'm fearful. That's my confidence. In 2010, there was the big earthquake in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. 250,000 people died. And at that point, everyone in my family lived in Haiti. And so for a couple of days, I didn't know if anyone who mattered to me was alive. And so it's like, it's very possible that I'm gonna go through this world just by myself. And so that was scary. But I remember the earthquake happened on a Thursday, and I think that Friday or Thursday afternoon, I went to class because I had to because I was fearful. It was the scariest moment of my life, but I had to go through it. And so in moments where I'm fearful and I'm like, well, maybe I lack confidence, I tell myself, no, the confidence that I'm getting is through moving forward no matter what. And I'm not saying that you have to have very big things in your life to be confident. It could just be that, hey, I'm presenting this thing. I'm scared, my voice is shaking, but I'm still presenting it. My hands are shaking, I'm still presenting it. So being able to move past those fears, and every time you do that, it's you building confidence. It's you becoming, saying, you know what, I can do this. So that's how I do it.
That's wonderful. I mean, every day is a challenge, but the fact that we can get through it should be enough for us to be able to, really feel that confidence and resiliency. So that's such a good point. Boy, I could talk to you for about an hour about some of the things you touched on, each of you, but I mean, be a whole other show next week, right? We can tune in.
Right.
Maria, how about you with confidence and some of the things that you deal with in your job, and to just keep building that up?
So I think I find confident in knowing my worth. You all see and hear that I have an accent, right? So sometimes I'm in spaces where, and I told you that I'm a certified interpreter with the Supreme Court, and that exam is kind of complicated. The passing rate is like 7%. So I'm gonna say that I have a good knowledge of the English language. But I have an accent, and because I have an accent, sometimes I'm speaking, and literally people don't hear me. I guess my accent makes me invisible somehow. So, but I know what I'm saying, and I know what I care about, so that's what gives me confidence and gives me going, you know, because sometimes when you have an accent, automatically people think, and this is a reality for me, you know, I know the perception of people, that you're not smart enough because you have an accent. I think I'm smarter than most because I know the languages.
We all know this.
Also trying things, you know, things that you never tried before. Like, for example, I know I have an accent and I'm talking to an audience. They probably, some of you are like, wow, where is that accent from? I didn't tell you, I'm from Spain. I came here 28 years ago. And you might be thinking, how does she have an accent still after 28 years? Well, all my formative years were in Spain, so it's very difficult to get rid of an accent. And plus, it's part of my identity, so I really want to keep it. So sorry, you're gonna have to learn how to understand me better. But yes, and I think I'm in a much better position. I'm privileged to be in a position where I can help a ton of people that are in really risky and in really bad situations. So that's what keeps me going and motivated and confident.
Wonderful. It's all about owning it, right?
That's
I mean,
right.
whatever you are, it's your superpower, because
That's
nobody
right.
else has it. So that's your strength. I mean, I can totally understand that. As a leader, is the next question, how do you stay mindful of who's at the table and who is missing? And I have to add to this, now having been deputy mayor for the last 2 years, a little bit over 2 years, which is really 10 years, and serving under Mayor Hogsett. He asked in December of 20, and I was here January of 21. And it's amazing being at the table in the conversations that are taking place and adding to the conversations and not being shot down, not saying, this is not a good, this is, why do you think this would work? And really being heard has, I just want to add that because I had the chance and opportunity to. And it is a very powerful feeling, and you want to make a difference and be in there and have those questions being asked, and the fact that I'm privileged to be a part of that is really just amazing. So, and as a leader, it's very empowering. So how do you stay mindful of who's at the table and who's missing? Sarah?
So I think as a young professional myself, I'm still getting to that point where, you know, I'm not necessarily in every room or I'm not at every table, but I think it's just asking people like, hey, have we invited so-and-so? Like, hey, we need more young people involved in local government. Like, just having conversations with different people and mentioning, because sometimes people also notice that, but they're not willing to say anything or speak up. So I think we have to be more willing to, you know, give feedback to people and speak up and say, like, so-and-so's missing, this is who we need to be included in these conversations. And I always ask people, and I always tell people, even in my professional role, I feel like I'm constantly focused on, like, who is the best person and who is the best person to say certain messages, because people think, like, just because they have the knowledge, they could just run with it, and it's enough for them to be at the table by themselves because they're representing everyone. And that's not the case. Like, we need more people and we need to make room, and there's always enough room for everyone. And so I think we certainly definitely need to be making room for more people. And I will say something too. At an event a few years ago, my friend was telling me she was the only woman panelist invited to speak at this event, and she asked, like, hey, who's going to be at the panel, who's been invited, and she found out through that process that she was the only one, and she declined the invitation. She said, like, if you're not willing to include more women, I don't want to be the only woman. Like, that's not an honor. It's embarrassing. Like, you need to do better. And she made sure to hold the organization better. And I think we need to be looking more into those opportunities and asking, like, who's going to be invited and why aren't they invited.
We definitely have to speak up and connect folks. I was on a panel earlier today. I think I was the only woman on that panel, and I'll definitely, to the organizers, make a point of that later on this week. So, how about you?
Yeah, all of us have seen, you know, pictures in the media of panels about women's rights and panels about abortion and, you know, women things with all male panels. So as Sarah mentioned, there's room for everyone, but if you look, there's always a woman that can talk about something, anything. So in my former position, I had the opportunity of you know, organizing a lot of panels, and we try to include maybe, if not the half, maybe a third of the table with women. I'm happy to share that the Mexican government has been naming or appointing a lot of women to positions in consulates and embassies in an effort, what we call the feminist Mexican diplomacy. So the new 2 consulates in the U.S. will be in New Brunswick and Oklahoma, and both of them will be headed by women, young women. And that's what I'm trying to do also in my career. When we have meetings here, I always ask who's coming and try to, happily we are 3 officials, with 3 female officials at the consulate. We are 5. And we reversed the number last year. And well, that's it's maybe an affirmative action. It's like an artificial action, but unless it becomes a normality, that's something we have to do.
Definitely. How about you, Romy?
So, as the director of a government agency, my role is to make sure that we're serving the community. And so if I have a table, I need my table, the people at my table, to reflect the community. And Mayor Hogshead talked about how Indy is 52% women. And so if at my table all I have is men, well, that's not an organization that reflects the community. And so it's almost a daily task. It's like, let's make sure that the people talking to me, the people close to me at this table, making decisions, trying to help people in the community actually look like what the community is. And so focusing on that daily, and if it changes and all the, everyone in Indy is a white male, then, I guess there won't be any place for me at OPHS, but, but we have to be mindful of that, and we have to constantly ask that question. We can't just say, like, well, this is what the community should be. We have to go with what the community is, and then reflect it in the, in the people that we're bringing to the table.
And being a woman and a minority, it's interesting. Yesterday was the 50th anniversary. Some of you were there at the International Center yesterday, and they showed old photos of Mayor Senator Lugar announcing the International Center. And at that table, it was all suits, men. There was one woman at the corner and a black woman over here. And I just, as a woman, I noticed that, thinking about they were planning this city and what it was going to look like, and those were the folks that were in power, and now look at it. It's just a totally different change. We're 46% minority in this state, in this city? 46 minority. This city's going to look different in 10 years, and who's at the table making those decisions? So Maria,
Yes.
I'll say the question again. As a leader, how do you stay mindful of who's at the table and who's missing?
Well, I will have to look around the table, and if everybody looks like me, then I'm in bad shape. So I want to make sure that everybody looks different than me. And we need not to forget the LGBTQ
Yes.
community. And I just think that you need to check your bias, because we all have unconscious biases, and we feel more comfortable. Like, I always feel comfortable, let's say, around Maki or deputy mayor, because I know how they are, I know their dynamics, and I think they're gonna pull me into something good. Every conversation is gonna be a good conversation. But I also need to be mindful and try to get people to the table that otherwise I won't talk to, because I'm sure I'm gonna learn something from them. So that is how you need to check your biases and say, well, I don't really feel comfortable with, I don't know, people from Argentina, but I need to bring them to the table because I know they're gonna have a different opinion than mine, and they're gonna bring something good, that I'm gonna learn something from them.
Yeah, that's the beauty of learning it. That's going to just make life much better
Right.
for you when you have to make decisions for other people. You're more
Exactly.
educated in that. I had a conversation with the Jewish community recently, and one of the senators of our state didn't realize that synagogues have had guards during their services for years and years. He had no idea that he's still governing the state and not really understanding some of the folks that they're serving. And you've got to do that. And let's go back to culture. It is International Women's Day, right? And you all come from different cultures and different traditions. And if I could, I would sing from Fiddler on the Roof, Tradition, but I'm not going to do that.
You can.
Great song for so many reasons. And the traditions are so important to so many people. Be it if you're a black person from Gary, I've got my own traditions. And don't laugh at that. But Sarah, give us some of your traditions that you've kept up being, in Indianapolis and celebrating and really just loving who you come from, where you come from, and how you celebrate that.
Yeah, there's several. I think one, so when I was younger, so Muslim holidays, like most people, like it's maybe sometimes on the calendar, maybe it's not something that they think about. And when I was younger, our holy months, and we have 2 Eids, and they always fell on a school day. And so when I was younger, I was like, perfect attendance, I need to go to school, and I need to show up to school, and I need to be here with my peers instead of like with my family, to go to the mosque in my community and to celebrate. And I think the older that I've gotten, I've made it more intentional to, yes, like I need to ask for the day off, like be present in my community. Like, so it's too often I think I'm too focused on like the professional space and being at work or being at school or being at university to not miss a test. But then why is it that I have to do that for my holidays, but I'm off for other people's holidays, which I welcome all the days off. Let's take off on all the holidays. And I went to a small private high school in Carmel, and so we had a lot of the students, we had several students who were Jewish, and in that school actually we had Jewish holidays off. And then after a few years, the school, there became a lot of Muslims who started going to the school, and so then now they have Muslim holidays off. And so I think that's really cool, and I think it just shows like we need to be celebrating ourselves and celebrating who we are more, and not hiding it or not wanting to just, well, I need to just be with my colleagues, and the pressure to just be like ignoring who we are. Like, so just celebrating. I come from a long line of fabulous, resilient women, from my great-grandma to my grandma to my mother, who have taught me to just, again, like, stay true to who I am and show up for myself and show up for other people. And so that's something that I definitely I take a lot of pride in.
Nice. Monkey?
Thank you. I was raised bicultural, we can say, because my parents are Japanese, and I was born and raised in Mexico, and I attended Mexican-Japanese school. It was easy for me while being a junior officer, celebrating my Mexican traditions and my Japanese traditions. Even when I was posted in New York or Washington, I was one of other colleagues from the embassy or the consulate, so celebrating my Japanese customs and traditions was okay. Here, I consciously don't celebrate the Japanese just at home because of the job. I'm the Consul of Mexico, so what is the Consul of Mexico doing at the Japanese festival? So just last Friday was in Japan. It was the Girls' Day, so we celebrated it on Thursday because Friday was a busy day. But I have a daughter, so we celebrated both of us. I'm a grown girl and a small girl, and but thankfully there are a lot of traditions, Mexican traditions, that have been, coming to the city, coming to Indianapolis. We have Dia de Muertos, which has been widely known thanks to Coco. The movie. It's wonderful, and please come to the Eiffelturm Museum at the end of October. And we have a partnership with Newfields in celebrating Posadas, which is a Mexican tradition during Christmas. It's 9 days before Christmas. We begin celebrating with a kind of a party with piñatas and all that. And that's part of, and I'm also Catholic. So I introduce myself as Mexico raised and Chilanga from Mexico City, and Guadalupana because I believe in the Virgin of Guadalupe, and that's a big celebration in Mexico. And I'm embracing those. For example, for the Virgin of Guadalupe birthday, which was December the 12th, a lot of people was like, what are you doing here? I'm Guadalupana, So yeah, sometimes it's difficult, so I have to verbalize a lot of my Mexicanness, whatever. But yeah.
Wow, you have some unique experiences.
Yes.
I mean, you should write a book on that.
And now I have, my kids were born in the U.S., so they want to celebrate Thanksgiving, for example.
Okay, oh, wow.
No? So now we have 2 turkeys at the end of the year.
It's fascinating. How about you, Romy, with Haiti and having our Haitian community grow so much here in Indianapolis? I know some of you are here today, and celebrate with you in May with some of your celebrations, but how about you?
So it's kind of twofold, because I'm at this point in my life where I'm almost as Haitian as I am American, and it kind of pains me to say that, but I lived in Haiti for 19 years. When I came here, I was still finding myself, trying to figure out who this person is, right? And I sort of found myself in America. And so there's a lot of Haitian culture in me because this is how I was raised. Like a lot of the values that I have are based on Haitian culture. Some of the fears that I have are based on Haitian culture. But in defining the adult that I wanted to be, a lot of it came from maybe some American values. And so there is sometimes a conflict between that Haitianness and that Americanness. But the way that I celebrate culture is through language. I love languages in general, but I love French and Creole. And so the way I respect my culture and celebrate my culture is by, first of all, making sure that my children speak my language. And from day one, I've told my husband, like, I cannot have children that cannot speak to my side of the family. That is unacceptable.
Wow.
And so that has been a priority for me. And my staff will tell you now that I'm constantly saying things in French to them because I want them to want to know those things because it is a part of me. Like any word that I say, there are at least 3 ways I can say it. And there's an emotion that comes with those words. And so culture is a lot of things, but for me, language is that main thing because that is the thing for sure that I can give to my children and that I can give to my environment. And again, I think learning, people that know multiple languages are really smart. So that too.
Okay, wonderful. And and the history of all of our countries that are represented here it's so deep. And of course, Haiti with well, we can get into that later, but that's, if you don't know the history of Haiti, and that's the first independent country from colonialism and the slave revolts there, it's very powerful story, and politically, being in the Western Hemisphere and always having challenges, there are reasons for that, I think, and not necessarily Haiti's own fault, but we won't get into political discussion here, will we? Maria, sorry, how about you? I've experienced culture at your house, actually, with some of your food that you've, yes, so give us an idea of some of the ways you celebrate. And
So I think for me, culture, like Rami, language is very, very important. I make sure that my kids know the language. Now I'm taking care of my granddaughter to know the language. I have 2 of my children here, so that's why I'm looking at them. But language is very, very important, but also food. A lot of things happen around food in Spain, and I think that's what we have in common with Latin America. The food, we sit around the table to eat. Like when I came here, it was shocking to me to see how people always invite you home. Come over for drinks. And I'm like, who wants to drink without food, So if you go to Spain, in general, when you go get a drink, you get a little bit of food, a little tapa, a little thing that you can eat, So the celebration of food and the conversations that come around food, I think that's most of my culture. I didn't tell you, but I have 7 sisters. So it was 8 of us, 8 women, and 1 brother, poor thing. We torture him most of the time. My dad never won. I mean, it was like gave up on us, because he wanted to do things the main way, because he was from back then, and we didn't allow him. It was a bunch of feminists in the house. So it was kind of interesting. But definitely food and the language are the way that I celebrate. And I'm so happy that I work with the Latin American community, because that I have all of that in common. Most of my best friends are Latin Americans, because we have a lot of things in common, but mainly the language, which is what Romy was saying.
And Maria, what city are you from in Spain?
I'm from Madrid. Well, I was born in Barcelona, but we moved to Madrid when I was very young. And then I came here when I was 30 years old. So I had to learn the language. Now you know how old I am.
I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about that at all. So now we've got, young folks here, and young people like Maria and myself as well.
Right.
But there's a next generation coming. There's always a next generation coming, and I've certainly learned from an older generation. I mean, my mother was a trailblazer in what she did, and I watched her every day, and it helped build me to become the woman that I am. And now I have daughters, and I have a granddaughter as well, And I know how important it is, that representation, and that she has no barriers. She knows she can do whatever she wants to, whenever she wants to. And I also have a daughter that's like that too, but we won't talk about her. Some of you know. But Sarah, when you see young folk, I mean, we get interns here, we go speak at high schools, junior highs, and let me add a story real quick too, because I went to go speak at a school on Keystone, 70-something in Keystone, and they knew the deputy mayor was coming to read to them. And so I always take books that have a lot of brown, black, white folks in it. And so I was going to read a book, and they drew pictures of me. And all the pictures, I was blonde and blue-eyed. And I was like, really? And they're hanging in my office. But so now they know. Now they know that's not necessarily what a deputy mayor looks like, right? So that representation matters. So give us an idea of any type of advice or folks that you reach out to, the younger generation, the next generation, what you tell them and how you try to help them.
Yeah, I'm a big sister to 3 brothers and a 13-year-old sister who's going on like 40. But this is really important to me, because I think, one, telling people to find their people, find their mentors, find their support system, people that will provide a safe space for you to not just be who you are, but to vent, to give advice, and to also, what's important is to give feedback and to receive feedback and be willing to receive feedback, because I think those who are wanting to see us better will be honest to tell us, like, hey, here's what you could work on, here are your strengths, like, to have those conversations with us and not just always be super, positive and supportive environments are also very, very important, of course, but also people who are willing to give you feedback is also important.
Yeah, I think it's also, when I worked in athletics, some of my interns were males, and it was, in my department, it was myself and then another black woman. How many times could a young white man say that he worked for 2 black women and learned something from them? So it's also not just, of course, the next generation, but also men, you can influence them and their mindset of how to work with women and work alongside women and behind women. Okay, Maki, how about you?
Well, the most simple suggestion from my side would be always try. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone, especially men, fathers or
Yes.
whatever, tell you that you can't. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, because it's manly or because I don't think you fit for it. Try. If you don't like it and you just realize yourself that you are not good at it, well, you will move. What else can you, besides time, there's nothing to lose. So always try. That's something important. And put all your heart in it. So you can, shut mouths.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely. Definitely. Romy, how about you?
So, finding your core values, I think, is an important thing, because in the different positions that I've had in my life, when I understand who I am and what's important to me, I can accept criticism sometimes, and I can do things better. And so, if I'm in a place where there's a conflict with my core values, then I can say bye to that place. I can say, you know what, we're not a good fit. And it's not about you, it's not about me, it's just that we're not a good fit, and be okay with it. And so I think understanding what's important to you as you're, making decision is something to think about. And then also to just take risks. Like, people always tell me that, men will apply for a job, if they're like mildly qualified, a couple of things, they'll apply for it. Whereas women, we need everything, we need to be good at everything and, excel at everything. If that's not the case, we're not going to apply for it. It's like, that's, just try. Just apply for something you don't know about, but you can learn. Now, just try it. And if you fail, it's okay, but try it and give it your best. So just take risks, try, and be bold. So,
Definitely. Yeah. How about you, Maria?
I agree with Romy. Try, apply, because men, we see it over and over and over. They have 2 of the 10 qualification requests required, and they apply because they feel that confident. And that's what we need to do. We need to feel that confident. Because believe it or not, you can learn anything. Yes. There are things that are nature-wise that you cannot learn or teach, but a job, anybody can learn a job. So go ahead and try. I will tell them that. I will tell them to create a sisterhood with other women,
yes.
older, younger, to have a support group so they can navigate things when things are difficult, and they can ask to the older women, what should I do? You know, look for guidance in other people that have been there before. And you made it there, so now worry about others. You bring other people, other women to the table as well.
Right. I think that this generation, also because of social media and just information in general, that a lot of young folks are doing some things that my generation, I don't feel like we actually did. And a lot of the women are out front fighting for their rights, the rights of others, LGBTQ, and having conversations we haven't had ever in this country. Had we had them 50, 60 years ago, we'd be living in a different country right now. So I think we just need to keep having these conversations and open discussions, and even in the workplace too. Are there special places that you guys go to get that support or mentorship, people that have mentored you and made a difference, or groups that you are with to just keep you motivated? And that's open for anyone.
I would say my kids actually keep me motivated because my formative years were in another country. To me, I'm learning every single day. So I'm always looking for my children to tell me what's happening in the world and for their support, because they're very supportive. They're my biggest critics. I mean, the mayor is here and I'm not worried about him, but I'm worried about my kids sitting there and what they're gonna tell me, you know, like, Mom, why did you say that? Or what, you know, so I think I go to them a lot for comfort also.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have 2 small kids, so I don't have time to join a lot of groups.
Right.
But I'm lucky in the way that the person that gives me support the most, actually 2 of the people that give me the most support are here today, and it's my husband and one of my best friend, Amy. She's here, and these are the people that I know that I can go to and like be myself. So when things are frustrating, when things are hard, these people, they're gonna be mad with me, they're gonna cry with me, and then later they're gonna be like, Romy, you were wrong, and that's okay, but they know when to say it.
Right,
and so, and I think having a supportive partner, I mean, Chris, again, he's here, but like him being a supportive partner allows me to, you know, to find that support. And I want to say the support doesn't necessarily have to be from other women. I mean, if that's not what you need, then you know that's not what you need. It just needs to exist somehow. So.
Right. No, totally get that. Anyone else?
I have a group of. It's a group of women. My closest friends. We have a chat. We are all over the world, so only 2 share the same, you know, time zone. So those are the ones I can open with, you know, even make very obvious, almost ignorant questions. That's the only place I can do it. Because you are in a position that you cannot ask, for example, what does, I don't know, thank God it's Friday mean, you know, the TGIF mean. I can do it with them because they are not going to judge.
Right.
And the same of support, the same, if you need to be reprimanded in a way, you know, you are making mistakes, or what about that picture, you take out that or something. Those are the ones I confide most. Besides the family, that they are the ones that see my ups and my downs all the time. Poor of them. Thank you.
Gotcha. Sarah, anybody that you go to or place you go?
Yeah, of course. I'm fortunate to have many people in my life that I go to, my best friends and my mom and my little sister, and also just the different leadership programs that I've been a part of that have also connected me with different mentors and have allowed me to build different relationships. For example, Indie Hub's 1828 program. Shout out to Danielle, who's in the room. Who's Your Woman Forward? That was a leadership program specifically for women. Indie Maven. So yeah, I'm proud to be a part of different programs and groups that have been intentional to bring women together and create a sisterhood.
Yeah, and that's what's great about Indianapolis. There are a lot of programs, so if anybody needs to be connected, make sure you talk with some of us, because we can certainly get you to organizations and groups that look out for women in leadership in this city. Is there anything else that you would like to add, especially from, you know, again, balancing. I get asked a lot from women or anybody, men, whoever. How do you balance? There's no such thing as balance, at least in my mindset. And I think being, where we are, in the types of jobs that we have, if we have children or families or friends, and even older parents, people eventually get into having to look after their families and their older parents, and then having family in another part of the world that you have to look out for that may need you. Is there a balance in any aspect
No.
of what you do? So no such thing.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there is a balance at all.
Yes.
You cannot balance that. I mean, you spend so many hours, somebody has to pay for it, for what you're doing. So many hours that you put to work that you're not with your family. So you have to balance and you have to check and see what are your priorities today. And that's the only thing you can do, because there is no way to balance that. You might try, but
Right.
Yeah. I'll say, along those lines, I've made it a point to put, again, because I have 2 small children that require a lot of attention, I've made it a point to put on my calendar, like when I have to drop off my kids and when I have to pick up. And I'm not telling the world, like, hey, I'm not gonna work at these, at these times, or that, don't talk to me. But because being a mother is part of who I am, if I need a meeting at 5:30, if someone needs a meeting at 5:30, then they need to give me a heads up, because I have to make arrangements, because DCS is going to show up when I don't pick up my kids. And so it's just a reality. It's not that I'm incompetent. It's not that I'm not good at my job. It's just that I'm more than just a director of OPHS.
Right.
I'm more than just a public defender. I'm more than just a wife. I have children, and right now they are a priority, and so we need to work around that. And so presenting myself like I can be competent and be good at my job, but also be a mom, like, let's just respect that.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping that, the next person who's a mother is gonna have that confidence to say, like, hey, I can't make this meeting because I have to go to my child's, dance class or something like that. And be comfortable saying that, not thinking like, hey, I'm gonna lose my job for saying that.
Right.
Because it wouldn't be fair.
and
Yes.
you allow that.
Nicely stated. Nicely.
That is absolutely a great answer, and I'm glad that you said that, because the woman in power, the women in leadership, we need to advocate for other women.
Yes.
Like, I don't have little kids anymore at home, but I understand that it might be difficult for a woman to get to the office at 8 o'clock or at 7:30. We need to advocate for those moms, because at the end of the day, we're still on that role in the majority of the cases. The
Yes.
mom is still the one that is taking care of the kids, taking them to school, picking them up, and trying to balance our lives. So we need, as women, to advocate for women that have children and try to make their life a little easier.
Yes, with holding up half the sky
Right.
and more, the world has to adapt if we continue to raise families and be there for our families, and also be there for the folks in the workforce where we're trying to make change and make a difference in this world. So I truly appreciate talking to each and every one of you. I think your insight, your background, and what you're doing for our city is major. You are the future. And we've got other folks out here in the audience that I'm sure would love to touch base with you, to talk with you, and learn more about your work and what you're doing and how they can help. And I think these conversations are important. And it also shows how unique Indianapolis is, and it's truly an international city now, and we need to listen to everyone, understand where everyone's coming from, and provide a voice for everyone. And just looking forward to what Indianapolis is going to be in the coming years. And thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.